Well, good afternoon. Thanks for inviting me for this fantastic event. And before we see my presentation, I would like to say what I'm going to try to talk today. First of all, one of the big problems that we have, and I think most of you are here because you like digital, but it's very difficult to convince people in your organization, especially the board and so on, why digital matters. So I'm going to start trying to give you some arguments for your stakeholders, your people, your customers, why we need to think about digital. Then we are going to see how and can we transform organizations to become more digital? And finally, I would like to have a bit of discourse and talk how we can become digital leaders. One thing is that you have a mobile phone. The other thing is that you play a lot of Candy Crush and other games. That doesn't make you a digital leader. So let's see what are the skills that now companies are requiring for people to become digital innovators, digital leaders, digital marketeers, or anyone that's managing the strategy of your organization. And as I say here, as you can see, the world has changed. In what sense the world has changed? Probably you have observed that the world is moving very fast. I come from a very international environment, and I work with companies like Google, Facebook. I travel around the world. And probably all of you, even if you don't work, you're still interested in, as you know, Google is dominating the world in terms of data. Also, all of us as users, now we have smartphones, mobile phones, tablets, and so on. Unfortunately, many companies, they're still not there. And they're still saying that the customers are not prepared. This is something that has changed. In fact, it's the contrary. We as society, as users, we already have the technology. Now the biggest challenge is how to change, adapt companies to do so. Also, we use a lot social media, different countries, different positions, the Facebooks, the Twitters, WhatsApp, the Telegrams, wherever. Smartwatch is now the trendy stuff. Let's see what's going on. And finally, everyone wants to talk about Google cars, autonomous cars, smart cities, robotics, wherever. No? So these are the trends. But how we can do the changes? As I say here, let me show you what's going to happen on the next 45 minutes. I know I don't have 45 minutes, but let me show you what the world is going to do in the next 45 minutes. Well, in fact, according to the numbers, we are going to send 9 billion of emails. We are going to buy 3.6 million of products in Amazon. We are going to listen almost 3,000 hours of music. That even worse. We are going to do as users all this. We are going to spend over 600 years in Facebook, if we count the amount of people that right now is connected to Facebook. We are going to download more than 80,000 apps. And finally, we are going to conduct more than 80 million of searches in Google. So guys, do I really need to provide you more justification why we are in a digital society? We are there, no? Also, we have discovered that right now, someone is creating, processing, and sharing digital data. Surprise, no. But digital data about you. Because now, without our permission, companies, governments, institutions, they are processing data about us. Companies, the Microsofts, the Apples, and so on, all these companies are collecting data about us to manage their business and so on, because through our Kyivstar is doing the same as telecommunication company, etc. So now we have the data in digital formats. The other thing is what we can do. So that's why I'm saying that digital is eating the world, because now everything is digital. Even if you do the process in a manual day, your data now is in the process of digitization. No? But that's why I'm saying today's in the world, everything is digital. The problem is that many companies still don't perceive that at the strategic and managerial level. We do that at the operational level. Also, as I say here, we live in what we call a hyper-connected world. What that means, now one of the biggest trends that now in all the families, from the parents, the kids, the children, and even the grandma, my mother, she's a very old lady. She doesn't hate me to say that, but she's quite old. Now she's in Facebook to connect with me because I'm originally from Portugal and I live in Madrid. So now she's connecting with me in Facebook. Of course, once in a while I block her to don't see where I am, but that's another story, no? But now we have this problem. Let me tell you an example. Last Christmas in the United States, in order to see that it's one of the most advanced countries in digital, the biggest discussion is at what age should we provide a smartphone to kids? In the past, it was 7 to 8 years. Now they are discussing if it should be at the age of 3 or 5. So that is the big now trend, no? I don't know if it's that good, but at least this is a trend. Also, we see that all these users of digital is transforming both the customers, but also the employees. We just mentioned someone from HR that mentioned here. Now we have this problem of HR, how to manage these people. And what that means. Many people, they say that they know and they understand very well their customers, but in fact, they don't observe what the customers are doing. This is a picture of the metro on the subway, no? You go to any subway, what people do in the morning? They don't talk when they go to work. They are just with the tablets, the mobiles, and so on. But since companies are now offering mobile services, most of us, what we do? Playing Candy Crush, seeing some stuff. Because companies still didn't realize yet how powerful can be the mobile to provide better services in terms of business. No, it's the guys of video games or Facebook that they discover how powerful can be the mobile. And soon as you know, now we are talking about fintech. It's one of the biggest trends that probably is going to disrupt the bank industry. I work a lot with many banks, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, and so on. They are scared about the impact of digital in transforming the banking sector, especially mobile payments, etc. And talking about mobiles, I talk with many top executives because it's the area that I do consulting, I teach them and so on. And usually, most of them, they have the best laptop, the best mobile, the best smartphone. And they think, as I say here, just because they have the latest iPhone, they are innovative or they are disruptors. And usually I say to them, they are wrong. Do you know why they are wrong? The only thing they do is this. They make Apple more rich because most of these executives, in fact, they use their smartphone of the company just for themselves, not to provide better services for the companies. So the next biggest challenge is not to convince you as users, is to convince you as business managers, as executives, how you need to transform your organization to this new social reality. And as I say here, now, if you analyze the society, now we use a lot social networks. We also use mobiles at each moment of the day, etc., and we love mobile apps. Now it's like you are watching the TV and probably in real time, you are commenting in Twitter and social media what's going on in the TV show. So you are totally destroying the exclusivity about the story, about the shows, and so on. Hollywood, by the way, hates you because that decreases the price of the TV shows in 1 or 2 weeks because you already know what's going to happen. Also, there's another perspective in terms of sales, retail, and marketing. What is that? Nowadays, we as users, at different moments of our day, we use different channels to interact with the companies. It's not because we buy, sometimes it's, even if you go to a typical traditional store, sometimes the buying decision-making process is done online because you still don't know what you buy. The first thing you do is Googling about that product. So when you go to the store, you already know the product that you want. So it's not that you do e-commerce. What you do is the buying decision-making process starts online. And nowadays we use different channels to interact with the companies. Many companies, they say they know the customers. The company that doesn't control all the channels, they cannot have a whole view of the customer. Also, we have discovered that. Now as the consumers, we don't have any more problems about getting information. In fact, we have another problem, abundance of information. And that creates another issue, is this. Traditional experience don't work anymore. Let me give you an example. In countries like Spain, sales are something that are regulated by law. So companies or stores, they can only do sales in specific periods of the year. The law is so obsolete that they forgot that now on the internet we have sales the whole year. So now the impact of Christmas sales is not so big as in the past. Last Christmas, they just discovered that the impact of annual sales of Christmas time was just 30% of the global sales. 10 years ago, the Christmas sales periods, it accounted for around 70% of the whole sales of the year. Because of what? Now in e-commerce, I have sales the whole year. So that is what is changing. Also, we have a new customer. This is the new digital customer. We are connected. We are more informed. I'm not saying we are better. I'm saying we have more information. We are unfaithful. What that means, imagine that you want to book an hotel room. Most of us, we still like the same hotel, but probably you are not going to book the room through their website. Probably you are going to use booking.com. So you still like the brand, you still like the company, but probably you don't like is the service they provide because you can get a better price in other website. This is what I'm talking about, being faithful to the brand. But the brands, you still like it. You don't like is the service. And we like fresh things, no? Also, that creates another problem. We call it the problem of the attention span. Now we have a big problem, and believe me as a professor, I have some students here. What is the problem? When you don't like something, what you do? The first thing is you just pick your mobile phone, and in an event, in a classroom, wherever, you just start playing with the mobile phone. So now we have a problem in terms of society that is very difficult that people pay attention to our messages, and companies know that. Even you do that probably at night. What do you do sometimes at night? You are in Facebook, you are in Twitter, and probably you are checking any other website. And you divide your time among these things. Let me tell a story. Microsoft just did a study last year, and they discovered that our attention span is just 8 seconds. So it's amazing. That's average, of course, okay? But on average, we just pay attention for 8 seconds. If you don't like it, you just quit. But let me tell you a secret. A goldfish has a 9 seconds attention span. So now human beings with mobile, we have 1 second less of attention span rather than a goldfish because they don't use mobile phones yet, no? So it's amazing. And finally, there's another thing. Even if you are in Ukraine and all these people come, I travel around the world and say, yeah, do you know what? We live in a specific culture and so on. I go to many countries, they always tell me that. I say, yes, it's true. But don't forget something. You live in a global village. More and more, we are closer to each other. I can guarantee that probably all of you, you have friends around the world, probably friends that you never met. And I admit, and I always say this, of course, our decisions are made on a local base, based on your local context. But you are being influenced by the global ecosystem. So you're still doing the final make decision based on your local friends, social influence, and so on. But doesn't mean that your decision is going to be influenced what you have read on the internet, etc. So think about that. So guys, this is also another big problem, especially for the senior guys like me. Now we live in a world that we have digital kids and analog adults. So they're still talking, and I always joke with that, my students remember that. Probably you never use the word technology. The people that use technology were people like me that we were born before the internet was created. I'm a very old guy. I look young, I'm not so young. So, but we are the ones that use technology. Think about yourselves. Most of you don't use the word technology. Why? Because for you it's natural. So saying that, now the big challenge for all of you, even working on big data or whatever, is you need to manage people with different perspectives, different cultures, different contexts, but people that they like digital, they live now in a global digital ecosystem, and people like new innovations. These are the most demanding skills nowadays for any manager. From junior to senior to wherever manager. You need to manage customers in that perspective. And how we do that? Well, we do that by now having this trend in terms of technology. I don't know if you have heard about the acronym SMAC. SMAC means the 4 big trends in terms of digital technology. And that stands for social media, mobile, analytics, and cloud. These are the key current trends that any business needs to have a digital strategy. Because that is something that is not something that is totally disruptive. It's already mature. So your company needs to formalize that as part of the strategy. We call that the SMAC, okay, approach, combining all that. And how we do that? Okay. How that is changing in terms of the buying process? Well, all these smart technologies has changed a lot the power relationships with companies. In the past, as you can see, there's information scarcity. In the past, we only have 1 or 2 channels to get information. Now, we have all the information we need on the internet. In the past, who is controlling the sales? It was, as you see, the sellers. Now who controls what is good in a product or not are the consumers. We call ourselves the prosumers, because now we can go to TripAdvisor and we can totally destroy the reputation of an hotel. So now the power is on the user side in terms of brand and so on. And finally, even internally, in the past, who is controlling all the sales and products were more the sales department. Now, you need to escalate it to a marketing department. Sales still is important, of course, but now they need to work together. Sales and marketing. Now is why marketing, especially digital marketing. Well, as you can see, and to summarize this part, this digital revolution is unstoppable because the society, we want it. It's not something that now companies can control it. It's transformational because it's transforming the way we communicate, we connect, we live, the way we date. It's amazing, no? It's like, think about dating now, where people all meet, they meet online, no? And all these kind of things. And finally, there you can see many examples of companies that because they didn't adapt, they are losing their power. Even in the digital ecosystem, probably you have heard, Yahoo, that was a company that they should, I don't know if anyone from Yahoo is going to kill me if he's here, but as you know, they are in big moment, no, they need a buyer. I think Microsoft probably is on the moment to talk with them. She's not going to say it, but there's a lot of potential buyers to Yahoo because they didn't transform themselves. So, next time you listen someone to talk about digital and traditional, I always say that the conversation should no longer be about I'm traditional, I'm digital. No. Instead, what you should do is what I say here. Instead of talking about that, you should think how to create an ecosystem where you combine and you link both environments. Because now, what's happening in any company is that you are going to have poor digital customers, poor traditional customers, and then you have a bunch of people that are in the middle that they use both. So let's stop talking about traditional and digital. You need to manage both of them in an integrated way. How we do that? By thinking about this. I always mention the examples of many companies that they forget that they are doing very well, but doesn't mean that someone can come, have a better idea and disrupt you. That is one of the biggest challenges. And I say here, the world doesn't need your permission to make your business obsolete. You see that with Airbnb, Uber, and so on. Guys, don't you think that the guys of the hotels and so on, they thought about using sharing economy? Of course they thought. But they thought that the model was so good, was so profitable, why I need to change? That is the mistake many executives do. They think their model is going to survive forever. And then we have many entrepreneurs like you that suddenly has a brilliant idea, and you don't have to ask permission to hotels to destroy their business model. That's why now I'm telling. So the problem is in their side, no? And also, this is a big problem for big companies. Many of big companies, in fact, they can be easily disrupted compared to other ones because as bigger you are, I call them the fat cow, more bureaucratic they are. So sometimes to do a small change in a big company, you need to go and to discuss with many people, many authorizations. So sometimes to do a small change, it takes months just because they have a bunch of meetings and decisions and so on. So that's why they can be easily disrupted. And again, I know Peter just mentioned about big data and so on. Let me give a friendly recommendation. Don't start talking any company just about big data. I mean, to convince the old dinosaurs. Peter is not a dinosaur. He knows he's in the business. He knows very well. He goes straight on to the point. But for instance, I'm working a lot with many banks. If you go there and talk about big data, the only thing you're going to tell you is, show me the ROI, show me the business value. So this is what these people want from you. So you need to show them that digital transformation is not about technology. Is, as I say here, is the way you are going to change a business. This is a way to demonstrate and to get the approval from your peers and your supervisors. If you talk about technology, they're going to tell you you are a freaky, a nerd, or something like that. Very nice. Come next year. So what you need to do is talking about business. So when I talk about digital transformation, I mentioned this. Digital transformation, in fact, is not a project, is not a thing. It's a project, it's an agile practice where you understand in a continuous way the ways to improve services and processes in your organization in order to improve the value for the organization. How we do that? By the way, it's talking about customers, but not talking about digital channels. I see many companies talking about digital transformation as channels. Digital transformation is not about channels. It's about processes from end to end. Because if something that works not well in any process in your organization, you can destroy the satisfaction of your customer. I was talking with Tanya the other day, and for example, you go to a restaurant. They have a fantastic food and so on. At the end, you want to pay with a credit card, and they tell you, no, you cannot do it. They already destroy the whole service. So guys, not about channels. It's about the service they provide from the beginning to the end. So we use this model. How digital transformation can be useful for any organization? In 3 parts. By improving the customer experience. So at the end, sales is about customers. So you should use digital technologies to improve customer experience. Improve your business processes. There are many companies that are struggling with integration, a lot of fragmented services and so on. And finally, discover new business models that can improve your business, your service, and obtain new revenues for the company. And big data can help on that, as you know. So as I say here, in fact, digital transformation is what we call digital reimagination. It's about reimagining the whole business. How and what you can reimagine in your company. Everything. It's a question of being open-minded and think about new processes, new products, new customer management, new business models, new ways to work, new workplaces, etc. So when you think about digital transformation, rethink everything in your organization. Think about that. And it's about this. After you're doing all your strategy, many people, I go to companies and say, I have a digital strategy. I say, okay, you have it. But that is enough? We are discovering it's not enough. Do you know why? Because of this. Many companies, they have a digital strategy, but they admit internally that they don't have the skills, the abilities, and the people to execute that digital transformation. So it's about people too. It's about transforming people. How we do that? By creating a new enterprise architecture. When I talk about enterprise architecture, I did my computer science engineer degree 30 years ago. And so, as you can see, 30 years ago, enterprise architecture was just data and technology. Now, enterprise architecture is not that. Enterprise architecture is technology, processes, data, new roles, new functions, new norms, and new policies to operate in the company. So please, next time you talk about big data is not Hadoop, is not just MapReduce, etc. This is the technology part of big data. Big data is about analytics, is about business value, etc. So as a manager, you need to scale up the concept of big data. It's not just talking about technology. Please keep that in mind. Well, how to do all this? So at the end, this is the problem. How we really execute digital transformation. We have discovered that digital transformation is a process, so it's something that you do, it's an action. So it's not a thing that you obtain, it's a capability that companies need to develop. You need to be able to transform. So it's like a skill, a competence that companies need to acquire. And finance should be part of your culture. Because if now your company wants to adopt social media, yesterday I was with a group of marketing managers, and they were talking to me about Facebook. I say, Facebook? And someone told me, yes, Facebook to attract people up till 35. I say, you are wrong. And she told me, what? I'm doing Facebook to millennials. I said, no, millennials are not anymore in Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg, last week, he just announced that, in fact, most of the millennials are quitting Facebook because Facebook committed a mistake a few years ago. They tried to attract senior people. So now what you do, imagine when you are in a bar and your parents, they enter through that door in a bar. What do? You go to the back door because you don't want to be where your parents are in a bar. So Facebook is exactly the same. So now young people are not there. So marketing people are committing a mistake because the ones that are going to see the ads steals my parents, not me. Think about this approach of evolution of technology. So how to do digital transformation? We have an approach. The approach is this one. First, you need to frame what you want to transform. Then you need to focus, because at the end, investment resources are limited. Then you need to engage the organization, and finally sustain it, because it's something that is going to be continuous. Briefly, first of all, you need to understand what are the challenges in your organization. What are the things you can really improve? Never start with an idea. Start with the challenges that your company has. Then understand the impact. It's very important that you do a risk management analysis, because these things is not rocket science. Implement technology is not rocket science. So you need to evaluate the risks. Finally, see if your company really has the architecture to implement it. And finally, see that you can align with the rest of the mission of the organization. As I say here, that is a mistake that many of us we commit. Most of us, we come with brilliant ideas. I just got the idea to use big data. Guys, please don't do that. Suggestion, focus on a problem, focus on a business problem, and then see how big data can solve that problem. Because probably you are going to have a better result with the big data implementation. If you just think on upfront on the idea, probably the idea is brilliant, but you are not going to solve a business problem that the company has. So focus on the problem, get in love of the problem, and ideas will come up. If not, you may feel that you are so in love of your idea that you don't see the rest of the picture. That is not going to create business value. And as I say here, by the way, it's very easy to kill an idea. It's very easy that someone tells you it's too costly, it's not the moment, and so on. But no one can kill you the idea to say the customer service of my company is not working, because they know it's not working or can be improved. So please always start with a business opportunity and then discuss ideas. Also, there's a big trend. Each time someone comes to you, and even they are a company which is a traditional company, start thinking in a digital way. Now, this is what newspapers, banking sectors, and so on, they do. Each time you are redesigning a new process, thinking in a digital-first approach. What do you think is wrong with this approach, with this product? That is the typical thing that happens in many innovation departments, many companies. You bring a bunch of brilliant engineers that they close in a room for a month. All of them, they bring their ideas and then create a monster like this product. What happens? It's brilliant, has a lot of functionality. But do the real users read so many functionality? Probably not. So instead of having just your brilliant genius engineers and researchers and so on doing that, no, first think about the user needs. Concentrate on their needs and then develop the product for their needs, not what engineers and researchers and innovators think the user thinks. So it's about this. I love this sentence. The famous guru from marketing, he says, customers don't care about your solutions. We care about our problems. So I don't care if a company calls me at midnight at my home saying they have a new product. Because in fact, I'm going to hate them forever. I cannot sleep, you wake up, and I don't have that problem. But if you call me the day I have a problem, probably I'm going to listen to you for 2 hours. So you need to identify the right moment to knock on the door of the user. Then the user is going to accept you, no? So we talk about intrinsic motivation. So digital transformation is not about features, products, and so on. It's about how to motivate users to adopt, to experience our products. How we do that? We call it the experience economy. That was my professor of Harvard that they coined this concept. What is that? This is why we go to Starbucks and sometimes we pay 300% more for one product. Because you pay the price not for the product. You pay for the experience of consuming that product. So the experience economy, this is what everyone is talking about nowadays, is about this. It's not just creating good products, it's creating amazing, memorable events about consuming that product. you will never ever forget that product because you don't remember or you will never forget that you had a great experience. So it's about this. Give the customers new knowledge about your products. Explain them that you have better prices. Fun interactive experience. Now they are using gamification and other techniques to do so. Also to create a better customer service. Most of the companies, you fail not because of the product. It's the service that we provide related to that product. And finally, personalized experience. Not all of us, I always joke, this is what Zara says. All of us, we buy pret-a-porter clothes, but we think we are dressed like Armani. It's not true. But nowadays, these are the low-cost fashion world. They discovered that because we can combine different clothes, we have the perception that we are unique in the way we dress. And at the end, all of us, we are dressed by Zara. But we think we have personalized the way we dress and so on. Because they create this perception, this illusion. We have a video about how to experience the eating of ice cream. So please watch it. How you eat an ice cream. You need to wait 2 minutes before you start eating the ice cream. So it's how to create a memorable experience. They use augmented reality. Mobile app. You scan the cover. And for 2 minutes, you are going to wait in front of the ice cream. Have this wonderful experience of watching a violinist and so on playing while you wait for eating the ice cream. Then you combine different flavors and so on. Do you know why this is brilliant? First of all, they use augmented reality and so on, but they did something. Do you remember I told you the lack of attention? Now you were paying attention to the brand. So in fact, they kept you 2 minutes in front of the ice cream. This is what I'm telling you about the attention economy, providing new ways, and people like it. So as you can see, digital transformation is about transforming business process services to engage the users. That's why people from marketing and so on are talking about this. I'm not going to talk too much about that. I think in the panel probably we are going to extend that. Now we are using big data, guys, I just mentioned today with Peter, we have a fantastic conversation this morning. Big data is not just about predicting sales. Now we are using big data to predict the behavior of people. It's about behaviors, cognitive science, emotions, anticipate what you're going to do next. So this is the next level of big data. It's using sentiment analysis, it's using artificial intelligence, but to go to the more intrinsic and cognitive part of the users. Because sales numbers, we already do that. So you can do big data for that, but that is not the most brilliant way to do. The next step is going to use behavioral science applied with big data. Well, this is why now many companies are starting using big data applied with, as you know more than me probably on that, I'm working on big data, but artificial intelligence and so on is not just about predicting sales, it's predicting the behavior of users to increase sales. At the end, it's about sales, but first you need to know and anticipate. This is how some companies can predict if you are going to change of mobile operator or not based on your behavior. Well, and saying that, and to conclude, then you need to, of course, think about investments. All these things, they cost money. You should try to convince your supervisors these things are not free. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to convince your top managers that they need to invest, no? And finally, to engage people. Many times, we have islands of innovators in organizations. It's very difficult to bring everyone on board. This is one of the biggest problems in companies. How we do that? Well, as I say here, digital transformation, guys, is not just about integrating technology. In fact, it's about integrating organizational departments and people. This is the biggest transformational change that we need to do. How we do that? By doing digital transformation, applying change management, and applying the people of HR, helping them, supporting them, because you cannot change an organization just by changing the technology. At the end, it's about people. Oh, sorry. Do you want me to go back? No. Okay. So how you do that? In order to do that, the first thing you need to do is to create digital awareness. Most of your people, they are scared about technology. Most of the people, in fact, they are so sustainable in the work they do that most of us, we don't want to change. As people are more senior, they hate to change. You are going to see that. So it's important that you as a digital leader, you know how to educate them, look at what's going inside you and listen them. All of us, we are scared when someone talks about change. So please listen people. And also, it's important that you do networking. It's very easy to say, and I'm working in a top business school where you have, I think it's 80 countries, something like that. That is like United Nations in a class. I just finished one. I have 55 students, and I had 30 countries in the same class. That was amazing to discuss it. No? So, in order to conclude, then, don't do it just once. Do it in a way that then it becomes a normal thing to do. How we do that? By creating new digital leaders. Someone, we have Andrei here as Digital Transformation Officer, someone that is going to be the orchestrator in your company to, in a continuous base to improve. There's a big debate Peter just mentioned. Who is going to be the leader? The Chief Marketing Officer or the CIO? I have many discussions about that. My answer is no, it's not the CMO. Why not? Because, in fact, it's both. You need someone from technology, someone from business, someone from marketing. They need to work together. One is going to provide the strategy in terms of customer experience and so on. The other is going to make it happen, is the CIO. So all of us, we have a role here. How we do that? How we became a digital leader? 2 minutes, Andrew, I'm finished, honestly. So how we do it? You need to transform the way you have leaders in organizations. We need to transform leaders in 2C from 4C leaders. What is that? In the past, many of leaders, they like to command and control. They feel safe on that. The new leaders is people that they like this. They like to communicate. They are not afraid to communicate in public. They like to connect with other people. They like to coach the others, and they like to catalyze, bring everyone on board. It's about teamwork. It's not about individuals. And finally, you need to be that. You need to be friendly, create empathy. You cannot be someone that you stay in an office all the time behind the computer. That is not a digital leader. You need to be on the field with your people, taking a lot of coffees, talking, and so on. And something that we have discovered, one of the most important skills is not creativity. In fact, it's observation. If you don't have good skills to observe what is around you, you are not going to identify what are the needs of people. So one of the most important skills before creativity is observation. And finally, transform your people. Many people, you want to transform your organization, and as I say here, your department is the first one that needs to be transformed. Because you want to provide the example and you don't do that. So next time you think about that, guys, think about your team if they are digital transformers, no? I would like to conclude with this. Digital transformation means doing what no one has done before. It's wrong. Do you know what? It's about something that in many companies we don't do. Digital transformation is doing what no one else they're doing. In many organizations, top leaders, they are afraid of losing their jobs, their power, their organization. So they know they need to transform, but they are afraid of doing that internally. So that means that the first thing is to do that. If you want to become a digital leader, don't be afraid to shake up your environment. People are going to criticize you, but it means that you are probably shaking their hands, their mind, and their hearts. Do that. They are going to criticize you. They criticized Mark Zuckerberg 12 years ago. Now, everyone loves him. It's amazing, no? So, to conclude, think about this. Guys, if you want to be a stable person, you have a normal life, don't be a digital leader. Forget it. Stay in your life, go to accounting, go to finance, stay there, do the billing, and you'll be lovely and you'll have a fantastic life. You want to be an innovator, think about this. To conclude, but if no one wants to innovate in your company, what's going to happen? this, nothing is going to happen. Absolutely nothing is going to happen. And change starts with you before you try to change the world. Don't forget that, okay? Thank you so much.